Welcome to Eliza Revenge Stories, where justice and retribution take the lead. Today's story is about a woman who had it all. But everything came crashing down when she discovered her husband's dark secrets. How did she fight back? How did she take revenge? Stay tuned for the full story of Sophie Taylor and her journey of Sophie's background and introduction to her dream life. Sophie Taylor was a young, ambitious woman from a small town. She moved to New York City at the age of 25, hoping to make a name for herself. After years of struggling, she finally landed a position at one of the top law firms in the city, Anderson and Rothwell. Her career took off quickly. She was smart, hardworking, and driven. Life seemed perfect. Then she met Ryan Miller, a charming, successful man, everything Sophie ever dreamed of. Ryan had a way of making her feel special, like she was the only one who mattered. They got married within a year, and Sophie believed her life was finally complete. Ryan was the love of her life. He was everything she had ever wanted, but Sophie didn't know that Ryan had a dark side, a secret he kept buried for years. Introduction of Betrayal and Signs of Ryan's Secrets. As the months went by, Sophie started noticing small changes in Ryan. He began staying late at work more often. He got more secretive with his phone. He didn't tell her much about his work trips anymore. She noticed him deleting texts from time to time, but every time she asked him about it, he smiled and said, "It's just work stuff, babe." For a while, Sophie thought it was just stress from work, but deep down, she knew something wasn't right. One evening, Ryan left his phone on the kitchen counter while he showered. Sophie felt a strange tug of curiosity. She picked it up and unlocked it. The first thing she saw was a picture of Ryan with another woman, a one-year-old child. A child who looked eerily similar to Ryan. Sophie's heart stopped. She kept scrolling. There were more pictures. Dinner dates, family photos, Ryan smiling, clearly in love with this woman, and the child who looked like his son. Sophie's shock and emotional reaction to the discovery. Sophie froze. Her hands shook as she put the phone down. She couldn't breathe. Ryan had a whole second family. He was married before, and Sophie never knew. She felt like her whole world had been shattered in that moment. The man she trusted with everything, the man she loved, had lied to her for years. And the worst part? He'd been living a double life, hiding a wife and child from her. She tried to hold herself together, but she couldn't. She had to find out everything, and she couldn't let Ryan know that she knew. Sophie's emotional breakdown and decision to take revenge. For weeks, Sophie kept the secret to herself. She tried to act normal around Ryan. She played the perfect wife. But every time he smiled, every time he acted like nothing was wrong, Sophie's anger grew. She wasn't just angry at Ryan. She was angry at herself for trusting him, for believing in him. And as the days went by, Sophie knew one thing for sure. She wasn't going to let this go. Sophie's plan to take revenge on Ryan and Claire. Sophie spent weeks in silence, gathering evidence. She started digging into Ryan's past, contacting people he knew from his previous life. Sophie also reached out to Claire, the other woman. She sent her a simple message. "We need to talk." To her surprise, Claire responded, and after a few exchanges, they met. Claire was just as betrayed as Sophie. She didn't know about Sophie, but Sophie knew about Claire's son. The two women formed an unlikely alliance, both hurt by the same man together. They collected every piece of evidence they could find. Photos, messages, and even financial records that proved Ryan had been hiding everything from Sophie. Sophie confronts Ryan and Claire. One evening, Sophie invited Ryan to their apartment for dinner. She told him it was important. She needed to discuss their future. When he arrived, Sophie was sitting at the table, calm and composed. Ryan, however, looked distracted. Sophie pushed a folder across the table towards him. Ryan's face immediately paled. "What's this, Sophie?" he asked, his voice faltering. Sophie didn't answer. Instead, she opened the folder, revealing all the evidence: photos, messages, and proof of Ryan's betrayal. Ryan sat in stunned silence, unable to speak. Sophie, with a calm that surprised even her, said, "I know everything, Ryan. I know about Claire. I know about your son. You've lied to me for years." Ryan tried to apologize, but Sophie didn't want to hear it. Sophie takes back her power and ruins Ryan's life. Sophie didn't just expose Ryan's secrets, she used her legal knowledge to destroy him professionally. She went to the firm's HR department and presented the evidence. Ryan was fired within days. His reputation was ruined. He lost everything: his career, his friends, and his marriage. Sophie, on the other hand, moved forward. She filed for divorce and took full custody of their daughter, Lily. She had taken back everything Ryan had stolen from her: her trust, her dignity, and her future. Sophie's final transformation and closure. Months passed, and Sophie's life began to rebuild. She received a promotion at work. She became a senior partner at the law firm she had worked so hard to get into. She had a daughter who loved her and a career that was thriving. Ryan, he was left behind, a broken man with no one to turn to. Sophie realized that her revenge wasn't about hurting Ryan. It was about reclaiming her life. It was about proving to herself that she could rise above betrayal. And that's exactly what she did. Sometimes the greatest revenge is to live a life better than you ever imagined. This was the story of Sophie Taylor's journey from heartbreak to victory. If you want more tales of justice, betrayal, and retribution, make sure to subscribe to Eliza Revenge Stories. You won't want to miss what happens next. Text on screen. Subscribe and don't miss the next shocking revenge story.